You're budgeting, you're tracking your money, you think you're doing everything right. But somehow your savings aren't growing and your wallet still feels empty. The truth is most people are making budgeting mistakes they don't even realize. In today's video, we'll uncover the top mistakes holding you back, and more importantly, how to fix them so you can finally get ahead financially. You can watch all the finance videos out there about saving money and investing, but it doesn't matter if you don't actually have any to save. That's because there might be some hidden mistakes in your budgeting habits that are costing you thousands. I know this because I used to do all of them too. But once I found my leaks, I was able to fix them and find myself finally making progress with my finances. So here are the top 6 things you could be doing that is keeping you broke. Mistake no. 1. Ignoring small expenses. You know those little coffees you get on your way to work or those snacks you grab at the corner store, or maybe those streaming services you have that you never use? These small leaks may seem harmless, but they add up to substantial losses over time. For instance, spending $5 a day on coffee works out to around $1,800 a year. So what seems like a small, insignificant amount quickly becomes a significant drain on your financial resources. And you would be surprised how many people fall into this trap without even realizing it. They think that by ignoring these small expenses, they're saving themselves from making a huge mistake, but they couldn't be further from the truth. It's precisely these small leaks that often lead to financial disaster. So if you want to make smart financial decisions, you need to track every dollar that comes in and goes out of your account. That way you can spot those pesky leaks and plug them before they sink your ship. Mistake no. 2. Being too strict. Let me tell you about someone I know who tried to save money by cutting out all fun activities and experiences. At first, it seemed like a good idea. By denying himself some much-needed relaxation and enjoyment, he thought he was being smart with his money. However, what he didn't realize was that he was setting himself up for failure. And I'll tell you why. See, life is all about balance. And by trying to be too strict with yourself, you're setting yourself up for a fall. We all need a little bit of fun in our lives. If we don't allow ourselves to enjoy some of the things that make us happy, we're going to burn out eventually. When that happens, all bets are off. You might find yourself splurging on that vacation or buying that new car that you've been eyeing off just to reward yourself for all your hard work. And while there's nothing wrong with indulging yourself once in a while, it becomes a problem when you do it because you've deprived yourself of all fun for so long. So instead of going cold turkey on fun, why not add a little bit of wiggle room into your budget? Give yourself a small amount of money each month that you can spend on whatever you want without guilt or restrictions. This way you won't feel like you're constantly depriving yourself, and you'll be less likely to go on a spending spree when you finally let loose. Remember, it's not about cutting out all the fun stuff. Finding a balance between being mindful of your spending and still enjoying life. Mistake no. 3. Forgetting irregular expenses. Imagine this. You've got a shiny new budget in place, and you're feeling pretty proud of yourself for finally getting your finances in order. But then life happens. Your car decides to break down the day before your big presentation, or you need to buy a last-minute gift for a friend's birthday. And suddenly, your carefully crafted budget goes out the window. You might find yourself scrambling to pay for these unexpected expenses and blowing your entire monthly budget in the process. And it's not your fault. After all, these were irregular expenses that you couldn't have predicted, or were they? See, the thing is, irregular expenses are not actually that irregular. They happen regularly. Things like car repairs, home maintenance, gifts, haircuts, annual bills, and insurance premiums. If you keep an eye out for these expenses, you'll start to notice a pattern. Once you do, you can start planning for them. Instead of letting them catch you off guard and derail your budget, set aside a small amount of money each month to cover these irregular expenses. This way you'll always have a little bit of money saved up, and you won't be caught off guard when these expenses inevitably pop up. We call this a sinking fund. So check out this video up here where I talk all about it. Mistake no. For not updating your budget. We all love the idea of having a budget, the structure, the organization, the sense of control over our finances. But let's face it, sometimes it can feel like a real drag, especially if your budget hasn't been updated in a while. I mean, maybe you created a budget a few years ago when you were single and living on your own. Now you're married with kids and a mortgage. Or maybe your income has changed or your expenses have increased. Whatever the reason, if your budget isn't keeping up with your changing circumstances, you're not getting the most out of it. It's like trying to drive a car with an outdated map. You might think you're on the right track, but before you know it, you're lost and confused. But don't worry, it's not too late to turn things around. All you need to do is update your budget and make sure it reflects your current situation. Take some time each month to review your budget and see if there are any areas where you can cut back or make changes. For example, if you're no longer commuting to work, you might not need to allocate money for transportation anymore. On the other hand, if you've taken up a new hobby, you might need to add a new line item for supplies. By taking these small steps, you can ensure that your budget stays relevant and helps you achieve your financial goals. So don't let your budget become outdated. Make sure to review and update it regularly so it can continue to serve you well in the years to come. Mistake no. 5. No emergency fund. Emergencies are an unfortunate reality of life. They can strike at any moment, and often when we least expect it. Think about it. A sudden car accident, a burst pipe in your home, or a sudden illness can throw you into a tailspin and leave you scrambling to make ends meet. And let's be honest, dealing with these situations can be incredibly stressful. But it's times like these that can make or break your financial situation. Without a safety net, many people turn to credit cards or loans to cover the unexpected costs. But that can lead to high interest payments and a mountain of debt that's tough to climb out of. But the good news is that there's a way to avoid all that stress and debt. Having an emergency fund, it's like a safety net that can catch you if you ever fall. It's a stash of money that you set aside specifically for unexpected expenses. With an emergency fund, you'll never have to worry about going into debt to cover the cost of a flat tire or a sick pet. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount of money. Just having 3 to 6 months of your living expenses saved up can make a world of difference. So if you don't have an emergency fund yet, start building one today. Even small amounts saved up over time can add up to a significant safety net. And once you have that peace of mind, you'll be able to tackle whatever life throws at you with a smile on your face. Mistake no. 6. Only tracking, not planning. So you've started tracking your expenses, and you're proud of yourself for taking that step towards financial responsibility. But let me ask you something. Have you actually looked at your bank statements lately? Have you taken the time to categorize your expenses and see where your money is really going? If the answer is no, then I hate to break it to you, but tracking your expenses is pointless. And I know what you're thinking. Tracking is the first step to financial success. Without it, you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. Well, that's partially true, but there's more to it than that. Tracking your expenses is like knowing where you are. It's important, but it doesn't tell you where you need to go. That's where zero-based budgeting comes in. When you zero-based budget, you give every dollar you earn a job. You decide in advance how much money you're going to allocate to rent, groceries, transportation, and all your other expenses. And then you track your spending to make sure you're sticking to your plan. This way, you're not just tracking your expenses, you're actively managing them. You're making conscious decisions about where your money goes and ensuring that it's aligned with your financial goals. So if you're tired of tracking your expenses and not seeing any real results, it might be time to try zero-based budgeting. Give every dollar a job and watch your finances flourish. Look, budgeting isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware and intentional with your money. It's okay to make mistakes, as long as you learn from them. So I want you to comment below and let me know if you've made any of these mistakes. Also, if you're looking to level up in life, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more content. And until next time, remember to live below your means, invest in yourself, and always keep learning. Thanks for watching.